Hi, y'all. Welcome to my Lit Lounge, where I interview the authors who have wrecked my TBR, held my emotions hostage, and made me fall head over heels. Today's guest writes romance that's tender, definitely for the grown folks, and deeply rooted in connection. Her stories center Black queer love with softness, intention, and just the right amount of heat. Her characters feel real, relationships unfold with care, and moments definitely linger. She's been making y'all holler at fictional lesbians since 2021, and honestly, that alone tells you what type of time we're about to have. Her work reminds us why representation matters, why joy on the page is powerful, and why romance, especially Black queer romance, deserves to be centered, celebrated, and savored. I'm so excited to sit down and talk craft, community, creative journey, and everything else I can think of with the one and only LM Bennett.
Thank you so much for having me on. That is one hell of an introduction.
Writing intros. Y'all don't get enough flowers, so why not? So your stories feel intimate and intentional. When you sit down to write romance, what emotional notes are you making? Are you trying to get certain points across? Do you already have the characters living in your head? Where do you start?
Usually start with the complication. Like when I'm building a story, I'll go, who is this character and who is the worst person in the world that I can introduce them to right now?
Okay.
So you find the enough friction to be able to form the romance. You get the push, you get the pull, that I shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do this, what will we lose if we have this together? I love all of those things. I love writing those things. So that's where I start.
I've read, I want to say maybe a handful of your books, and I will say that like the tension that you write, it be tensioning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I want to shake the characters more than the other characters want to shake the characters, but you do write tension like incredibly well. I also think that the tension is relatable because I can't say that like I wouldn't have the same level of reluctance or resistancy, but also one of my favorite things by you so far is the like moment where the characters finally are like, oh shoot, I am actually in love with this person.
I love writing those.
So are those some of your favorite scenes or like moments to write?
Yeah, I just think of it as just building a house brick by brick by brick. And if even one of those is wobbly, the house can't stand. So I like to really take my time and think about what it is that I'm doing, what needs to be happening in the scene, what needs to be happening in the characters, the things that they notice that make them either run away screaming or fall deeper. I love all of those.
So how did this writer's journey start for you?
When I was a child, I used to write stories and I used to hold my great grandmother hostage and make her listen to me reading the stories out loud.
Hey. My grandmother's actually a reader, and so is my dad. I just kind of started, my romance journey started off reading whatever she had to read. Don't recommend that for all of y'all under the age of 18, but that is my personal journey.
We had no right, or we should not have been reading Sister Souljah and Omar Tyree, and we shouldn't have been reading those at like 11, 12, 13 years old.
No. And I think my first Sister Souljah book, I was like 15, but before then, I want to say it might have been Zane, which, yeah. You know, here we are. What is your favorite thing about like writing romance?
Just telling a story and giving the characters room to be who they are, whether that's someone who is, I guess, a bit haughty or a bit arrogant, and helping them find their match.
Are arrogant characters your like favorite character archetype?
I love a good arrogant character. I really do. And I think it's mostly because a lot of times they say things that I can't, things that are like right here or things that I would never dream of saying out loud. I usually give it to them.
Your banter and like the lines, I was literally like laughing out loud. I was cackling. I was like, there's no way that like, because I would be the friend that you couldn't have around in a serious moment because I would be laughing too hard. And then I was wondering, I was like, I wonder if the author is like this. Because sometimes you have authors that I'm like, you're exactly like your main characters. It's crazy. Then you have authors that I'm like, you write completely opposite of how I thought you would be as an author. So are you more like your arrogant characters, or are you a little more soft-spoken?
I'm a little bit more soft-spoken, but don't get it twisted. That could change any minute. I would say the character that I'm probably most like would be McKenna from the Christmas book, also from Retwist. McKenna she's probably closest to who I am.
I think she's like a little mix of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So your characters are very real feeling, like they're the thoughts that they have. How do you like infuse that into them? Are they thoughts that you've had?
Well, sometimes it's thoughts that I've had, which is how I keep things emotionally honest. But I never just layer everything like all in one go.
Mm-hmm.
I might write a scene, and then sit there, think about it. A couple hours later, maybe that's not how they would have said that. Or is there another layer that is over this thing? And I had a moment like that earlier because I'm writing a book right now, rather in the rewriting stages. And it just occurred to me that because both of these characters are masculine of center, they would be hiding in a relationship in plain sight. And that wasn't something that came to me until like weeks after I started writing the book. So these books are kind of like a living document in my mind, and I'm constantly under covering, more layers as I go along.
I love that, a living document. Because I feel like that's very relatable, because I feel like in life, we're kind of like writing and rewriting our own paths as we build them. I know for me, sometimes I'll say something and I'm like, I probably could have been a little gentler in my delivery. And I love the fact that like in a book, an author has the chance to go back and like redo that part. When we think about like conflict between characters, because I know you said conflict is where you start, so I had to jump down in my question list a little bit because usually conflict doesn't come until the middle. But if conflict is where you start, like, what's your favorite part of the tension?
It's defining the tension. For me, with the poker book that I wrote, like the tension was multifocal because you had two women who are both playing poker, which is typically a men's sport. You have one who's masculine of center. You have another who is feminine. And the feminine character, who's Miri, she kind of resented the masculine character because she got accepted into the boys' club so easily, and she won their respect so easily. And she had to fight for it more because she's obviously beautiful. She's obviously very feminine. And furthermore, she thinks that she's better than all of them. So her not getting the respect that she felt she was owed, that kind of turned the crank a little bit more on that relationship. And you had the masculine character, Jax, who has a mentor whose career she's been following since she got into poker. Her mentor doesn't like Miri either. And Miri took her mentor out of her last tournament. So it was a powder keg by the time they got together in that book.
So, okay, because building up to the, I don't know what you call it, like the moment of conflict or whatever. So the tension is there, but then it seems like even after they have their like explosive moment, you still manage to keep the tension between the characters, whether it be more of an intimate type of tension. They always seem to keep each other like on their toes, or there's this like push to make themselves, I don't want to say better, but like to like finally step into themselves.
I would say it's making themselves better. I mean, one of my favorite movies is Pride and Prejudice, and they both had to change and grow in order to be able to live together, to be together. They had to overcome something.
Do you have a favorite book of yours that you have written to date, that you wrote and you were like, ooh, I did that? Or maybe a favorite character?
Favorite character? Well, Miri is probably my favorite character because she's allowed to be, I guess, hard in ways that other authors may back off of. And so I wanted to be able to examine why, she does what she does and what she may be telling herself internally that makes her act as hard as she does, and what she needs to feel and hear to let down that guard a lot. And so that's probably why she's one of my favorite characters. Like, as far as one of my favorite books, I would say You Are Almost Home, just because like that, I think, and I don't want to like fangirl about myself, but I just kind of love the structure of it, because you would go into that scene thinking that, okay, good, they're finally in the same place at the same time, they're going to have it out, they're going to get back together, but that doesn't happen because it's really just the pressure release of all of the stuff that they have not said over the past 2 years. And that is what allows them to be able to meet each other again in the middle very slowly and intentionally. I kind of like the way I did that, and not everybody enjoyed the way that I did that, which is fair, because they're used to that one conversation fixing everything, but that's not how it happens in real life. Sometimes you need 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different conversations to get on the same page again emotionally.
I think that's reflective of, like you said, like processing emotions in real life. Sometimes you feel like you've reached a point of resolution, and then as you think about it a little bit more, you're like, actually, I didn't bring up this, but this was still bothering me. Or even just navigating conversations because we may rehearse them in our heads, and the person that we're talking to goes completely off script.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we're gonna hop into our first round of Fast Five.
Oh, goodness.
So these are like this or that style questions, and I want you to answer them with minimal thought. You just got to pick one.
Okay.
But you do have to pick one. You cannot pick both. You ready? Okay. So, soft yearning or undeniable tension?
Soft yearning.
I probably should have prefaced this by saying that these are actually based on the things that you've written, so that might make it a little harder. Friends to lovers or rivals with history?
Rivals with history every time.
Slow burn or we said what we said and did what we did by chapter 2? Love confession in the quiet or big emotional moment that has everyone gag?
Love confession in the quiet.
And then this one is more personal to you, but writing late at night or writing early morning with coffee?
Late at night, each and every time.
You're a night owl writer?
Yes.
I admire that. I'm a night owl reader. Like I'm not conversation ready or prepared after like 10 p.m. But am I in a book? Yes, absolutely. So are you like a midnight to 5 a.m.er?
Yes, I really am. It's wild, but I mean, I have a day job, as most authors have a day job. So sometimes I need that turning off work reset. That may take me a few minutes, may take me a few hours, but that's kind of why I tend to write at night as opposed to like the morning, because I have to be in a whole other mindset in the morning.
So walk me through your like writing process. Is it a free for all? Is it sticky notes everywhere? Do you have a set ritual?
Well, for me, it's coming up with the idea. Sometimes, like if I'm brainstorming an idea, sometimes it'll come out in a rush. Like there was one story in which the idea came lightning fast, and the sooner my brain thought it up, I was just saying it out loud. I was in the car with my wife, and the ideas just kept tumbling out. But that's a rare occasion for me. Sometimes I'll say, well, what if X, Y, Z happen? And I don't even know the names of the characters. I don't know where they are. I don't know anything about them. And I fill in the blanks later. But that was just lightning bolt moment, and that was it.
So is it usually like a plot first and then the characters develop as you're working through it?
To me, because I need to know that the type of character is going to be able to handle what I throw at them. Like, I tell character first stories, like always, but I'm always thinking of the plot first. And then I build the characters, like their flaws, their good parts, all the things that they tell themselves that aren't necessarily true, which is in screenwriting called the lie. I'm figuring out all of those things and structuring different scenes to show how I can bring those things out without beating you over the head with them, and who might either enhance those or who might aggravate them even more.
So you brought up 2 points that I want to get into. One is if you could pick one of your books to be on screen, whether that be a movie or TV show, or maybe give me one of each, what would they be?
Well, I think for a TV show, probably it would be the one that I'm going to write later on, because it's actually a serial.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, it's weird, but go with it. It's kind of like the L Word meets Empire.
Okay, I would have to read that to see. I was like, I got to see the connections there. But yeah, okay.
So as far as a movie, I would think Pit Stop. F1 is very hot right now. And when I was explaining the concept of Pit Stop to my wife, she's a very hard critic. Like if her movie that she's watching isn't working, she's just going to sit there and clown it the whole time. But when I was telling her the plot of Pit Stop, she said, yeah, I would. She was like, I would go see that movie. So I think that would be probably the best movie to be a movie, the best book to be a movie.
I'd say F1 is definitely on the rise as far as like, well, even just on TV. I know Netflix has a few specials, and there's been so many books, or more books, I should say, on the shelves that have F1 as the main character's job. I love to see a woman F1 driver, and I want her to win every time. Leave the men in the dust, please.
I would love that too. And Susie Wolf was just saying the same thing. There have been female F1 drivers. They just haven't lasted very long, or they haven't been very good. But they have F1 Academy, and those girls, they go hard, and they're just as competitive as the men. which is why I think Susie Wolf is right when she says a female F1 driver it's going to happen. It's inevitable.
I agree. So we talked about the character types you like writing. Do you have a favorite character type that you like to write that falls first?
Usually the more repressed one, because they're holding back more.
Yeah.
And it's fun for me as a writer to be like, I gotcha.
Yeah, as a reader, I know that I look for the moment where I'm like, it's going to be you. And I want to know when or what the moment is going to be. And it's always so satisfying when it's a moment where I'm like, see, had you had gotten it together sooner, you wouldn't be in this mess.
That's true. I mean, but I also like when a character thinks that they fall in first, but it's actually the other person. And that was in McKenna's Christmas book. She's just going through life. She's like, I hate this, and I'm single around Christmas, and everybody else is paired up, and oh my God, my friend is trying to hook me up with this person who's so boring. And meanwhile, she's in her head and in her feelings, and she doesn't realize that her love interest is going.
Right.
So that's why I kind of like that as well.
That was like a gotcha. So I was like scrolling through your catalog. How many books do you have?
Don't ask me that. I don't know. No, there's some people who are just like, oh, I have about 10 books. And I literally have to sit there and count them on my fingers. But then there's going to be like one that I forget.
I'm going to take another peek at this because I love when an author has a good backlog that I can just dive into because I will read an entire backlog in like a month. Let's see. There are 15 available titles.
Mm-hmm. And some of them are like super short, so I don't really call those books. Like to me, those are just like short stories or novellas or something.
Yeah, but we love a novella. I feel like a novella is the perfect, well, for me anyway, because I am a nighttime reader. If I start something at like 8 p.m., if it's 400 pages, I'm just gonna read the 400 pages, but then I've been up until like 6. You know, sometimes a novella is just what you need to make it from point A to point B. Or if you've been in a reading slump, you need to, you know, and you want a story that's going to move, but you still want to like the characters or hate the characters if that's the type of reader that you are.
Well, like for me, when it comes to a novella, because you have, like, there's only but so much story you have to tell. Like, I don't think, and I would have to go through my catalog, but I don't think that I've ever started a novella with a character who is unlikable because they have a much longer story and character arc before they can get to that place where they are likable. So I tend to get someone who's maybe a little bit closer to the middle and maybe just needs that extra nudge.
Maybe more of a grouch and not...
Yeah. Grouch.
Okay.
A grouch, not a whole like villain. I don't think I would ever give a villain a novella because I don't think that the character could get there reasonably, and certainly the reader won't be able to get there to a place where they can like that character and think that they deserve the ending that they have.
So you mentioned also being a reader. What are the types of books or romances that you gravitate towards or other genres that you gravitate towards?
I'm primarily literary fiction. Like we're talking about people like Chuck Palahniuk and Roxane Gay, but I love a good romance. Like, and I say this because there's this story that I read. Don't ask me how long ago it was. It had to have been 30 years ago, but it was a Harlequin title, and I never forgot that story. I can't find the physical book anywhere, but I literally just went onto Amazon to see if Amazon had it for sale, and they did, and I snatched it up so fast. It's called The Soulmate by Carly Bishop. By
Carly Bishop. Okay, I'm about to make a note of
that. Her husband gets killed, and then she meets an angel who kind of reminds her of her husband, and of course, they fall.
Okay, I just added that to... Oh, that's quite the cover, too.
Yeah, that's an old cover.
Avenging Angels? Okay.
Yes, that was a whole series. I don't think I read the other books in the series, but that story, for some reason, it always stayed with me 30 years later.
I love the tagline on the bottom that says the sexiest angels on this side of heaven. I'm absolutely adding this to the TBR, and I will make sure for those of y'all that watch the podcast that you get this information as well. Okay, thank you for adding to my TBR.
You're welcome.
But what is it about the story that like stuck with you?
I just don't remember even that young like reading anything like it before. I think that's probably why it stayed in the back of my mind as like a good romance.
Okay, so the book I read that by you that like has stuck with me is it Bespoke?
Yes. That's going to be 2 years old next month.
That's just wow. That's on my I'm a rereader.
Hmm.
And that's definitely on my reread list. I thoroughly enjoyed that from beginning to end.
Thank you. And I had a reader. She was getting in contact with me. She just emailed me, and she was like, "I've read that book 10 times. Do you have any other stud for stud books?" And I can only come up with like a handful. But that is the book. I would say that and string theory are the books that people tend to comment on the most. Or like if I'm being nosy on Reddit, then I'll see people talking about the book. Or if someone meets me in person and they know me, like they don't like not me, but me, the author. That's usually the first book that they mention.
That's actually how I found it, was on Reddit. I don't even know which Reddit rabbit hole I fell down, but I was like, oh. And then I remember looking up the author and I was like, oh, and it's a Black author. Say less. Went over and read it and I was like, oh, I actually thoroughly enjoyed this.
Yeah.
What was, because you said it's about to be 2 years old now shortly.
Yeah.
What was that like writing process like for that one? Because that's just, the energy in that book is wild.
I would say Cal is unlike me, and any sense of any character that's been like me, she's probably the most unlike me. So like writing her as a character, like it was kind of, I was pulling information from real life, people that I know who are masculine of center, who are also found themselves like attracted to another masculine of center woman. Just listening to those stories, like even if they were a little funny or frustrating. So I started to cobble together certain things, and where friction might be, like there's a moment where they're both going into the restaurant and they're like, wait, do I hang back? Do I go in first? And it's like little details like that you don't always pick up if you don't have someone who's front and center telling you, well, let me tell you about the time that I tried to do that. And you just pick up all of these different cute little things that make a more convincing story than if you hadn't lived it and you didn't know anybody who experienced that.
I loved going through the like reviews and like commentary on that Reddit thread, because people were like, oh, this is so relatable, or this is me and my wife, or I have two friends who are just like this. And that's part of the reason I wanted to go read it, because I was like, ooh, relatable characters, love those. So kudos to you, because if I have a book that I'm recommending, it's going to be that one.
And I hope that, because I'm also writing another stud for stud book, slightly different tone. It's second chance. It's not, these people by now have been in each other's lives for a long time, so they don't have the same hangups about being masculine of center. But there are other ways that I play with their dynamic a little bit that I think people are going to find interesting. And I'm already calling that people are going to be feral about chapter 10. I'm not saying what's happening in chapter 10, but I can guarantee you people are going to be feral about that scene.
I love a good scene.
Well, that's a scene.
Because I like to annotate too. If it's a scene that I can bookmark, if I've highlighted some of the dialogue lines, I'm going back to that scene. Do you have
artwork made of?
I'll wait until we're not recording, but I'm like, can I get a sneak peek?
Well, I can show you the sketch. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Y'all saw it here first, folks.
I hope my artist doesn't kill me, but this is, oops, I don't think you can you see it, or is it too bright?
It's too bright.
It's too bright. Well, one character, you know what, I'm not going to describe it because then I don't want to give it away, but everybody's fully clothed. I do, not safe for work artwork, but this is a safe for work artwork, but it's just a very charged moment that stuck out in my mind. And I was like, if there's any scene that I'm going to have from this book made into artwork, it's going to be that one.
I love that. Okay. Already excited to read and already excited to get the artwork. Speaking of not safe for work artwork, do you have any favorites?
Not safe for work artwork or not safe for work scenes?
Either.
I would say, all right, my favorite not safe for work scene was definitely You Were Almost Home, just because that was such a raw scene. And that was, I think, like as soon as I nailed down the concept, like I wrote that scene first.
Okay.
And as I was going through the story, getting closer and closer to it, I was like, the story really has to earn that scene, or else it's going to be completely ridiculous and over the top.
This story has to earn that scene. That belongs on a t-shirt.
Yes. It was right there in the back of my mind, and I did have artwork made of that scene as well. But it just hit me, and I was like, nah. I was like, this I have to lean into this. The emotional intensity, the tears, it all has to be there, or else this whole book is for nothing.
So I love the surge of like including not safe for work artwork in like special editions, or even just like when we go to book events and they have them at the table. There have been a few times though when I didn't realize not safe for work artwork was included, and I was like showing the book off to someone.
Yeah.
Was I on video with a friend? That first time she was like, "Are you looking at the same art that I'm looking at?" I was like, "Yeah, isn't it great?" She was like, "Ma'am, there's full frontals happening," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know how I missed that."
Like that character's butt is in the air.
Or I've been like, note to self, don't display this one when my mom comes over.
But oh gosh, here's a funny story. There is a book that I wrote, and it has a consensual kink element to it, and I find that that is the book that people who know me in real life mention to me. Like one of my mom's friends did, and one of my acquaintances did, and I'm like, how dare you read that book? Do you understand how filthy?
You can't even play it off because you wrote it. You're just like, I would be mortified, maybe. Well, I don't know, because I turned my mom into a romance book girly, but she likes audiobooks. And so there are times when I hop in the car and I'm like, oh, this is what we're listening to today. Or I've even hopped in the car where like my mom was listening to something and my grandmother was already in the car. And I was like, which one of my life choices ended me up here at this moment in time?
I heard about this one woman who was playing one of those scenes, and she's thinking that it's just playing inside the car, but people who are outside can hear it too. Ooh. And there was this one woman who walked past and she's like, girl, what?
No, I love the stories of people who thought it was playing in their headphones and it switches over to like the speaker in the house. I just, because there's some scenes that I'm like, I don't need nobody else to know that I read this besides the other people that also read it, because y'all can't judge me. What's it like, do you have your wife read your spicy scenes? Do you just say like, that's enough spice? You ever wrote something that you were like, you should probably reel that in, it's too much spice?
No, I've never, she doesn't read my scenes, and I've never had a scene where I'm like, oh, that's too much spice. I don't think I've ever come across that in a scene before. Because I feel like that's like the most honest place that characters can be together. So if you hold back, then that's kind of like holding back on the reader. And if a reader has been like waiting for it to happen, like feral for it, especially if it's a slow burn, you can't hold back.
Please don't. Because like in a slow burn, I'm feral for the kiss. And if we don't get to shaking the sheets very shortly after that, I'm mad. I've been sufficiently frustrated.
To see where that would be frustrating. I don't think that I think there's probably only been a few stories, and I don't even want to say a few, like maybe one or two, in which even though the kiss happens, the sex can't happen right away. Like because there's something else that literally needs to, pardon the pun, come between. I'm sorry, I didn't plan that out. That was a bad joke. I'm sorry.
Fantastic. We love those here.
I'm sorry, just making bad jokes left and right. It's okay.
That was fantastic. We love those here. Okay, so we're going to hop into the spicy version of Fast Five.
Okay.
So the soft whispers that wreck you, or the one line of dialogue that changes everything.
Oh no, soft whispers every time.
Tension so thick it's painful, or chemistry that jumps off the page immediately?
So thick it's painful. And that sounds really wrong if everybody around me are like, what is she talking about?
Yep, behind the scenes of the interview, one-sided would be so hilarious to hear.
I just have people side-eyeing me. It's gotta be okay.
Let's see. Hands lingering for a second too long, or eye contact that says everything?
Hands lingering every time.
And you can just feel the temperature rise in the scene.
Especially if they're not expecting it.
Bedroom scenes that are slow and intimate, or charged moments that happen somewhere they probably shouldn't.
Probably happens where they probably shouldn't. I like those.
I can tell. I love those in your books. I'm like, the match has been lit. The reader yelling kiss her at the page, or the reader closing the book like, all right, I need a minute.
Kiss her. Yelling kiss her.
Which has happened plenty of times. I'm like, I would love to shake the characters through the Kindle.
That's how you know the writer's done their job.
I understand that, but I don't understand that. You know, like I get it emotionally. In your writing of the characters, have you ever had a character frustrate the hell out of you?
That's a really good question. I can't say that I've come across that, because if the character is frustrating and difficult, I've made them that way on purpose. Okay. So like it may take me a little while longer to untangle the too tight knot that I've tangled for them, but I don't really think that I've had a character that really frustrated me to the point where I'm like ready to throw the book.
I cannot say the same as a reader. Yeah. And if I trusted that my Kindle was actually that durable, I might give it a little toss here and there. But I don't think she's...
Like writing in those Kindle throwing moments, though.
You ever written something where you're like, maybe that's too many Kindle throwing moments?
Probably it would have been You Were Almost Home has, I think, maybe one too many Kindle ready to fly out the window moments.
I have a gray hair somewhere on this side, and I think it's from that book.
Yeah, yeah, my bad. I
Yeah.
mean, sorry,
I'm
sorry.
like, you're not sorry.
No, they frustrated me too. But again, these are characters that I wrote. I wrote them both as avoidant. When you have two avoidants who are together and kind of hooked on each other, it's going to take them a while.
That's something that like I don't think I've read often is having two avoidance and not have one that's like anxious avoidant or like but just two very like, ooh, I'm gonna have to stay away and they can't stay away. I will say that that was like the tension in that was top tier. You
Thank
deserve
you.
a big gold star for that.
Thank you. I'll take it.
So I'm like absolutely having fun in this interview. This is crazy. So love the tension, love the spice, love a spicy scene that will live in my head rent free. Love when there's character art. Now for the tears and the emotional turmoil that happens on the inside because you give both in equal doses.
Mm-hmm.
What is writing the emotional turmoil like as opposed to writing the spice?
It hits a bit harder, I have to tell you. There's a character in The Art of Going Rogue who has a similar situation to me. And so writing that storyline and her scenes, that was kind of like I punched myself in the chest. And it was also that storyline and the way it played out that made other writers say, man, I cried in the bathtub reading that. And you felt it because I felt it. And I could tell you about that type of pain very honestly.
I always love authors who could like transcribe emotion in a way that like as a reader when you're reading it you feel it. But I always wonder how long the author had to stay in that space while writing it because I think like you write it then you have to rewrite it or edit it and like keep going over the scene. How do you take care of your mental while writing something like that? Especially if it's something that you have personally experienced.
If I'm writing about it, it's not something that still affects me or something that still bothers me. It's something that I'm able to purge and leave on the page. If something comes up for me, I do deal with that. I know how to emotionally regulate myself so that I'm not wrecking myself, but then I'm also never going to write about something that is so extraordinarily painful that I will have to relive it over and over again. That is something I think I've never put in a book, and that's something I don't think I'm ever going to put in a book.
I've definitely read books that have like emotionally wrecked me. I got the special edition of Broken Clocks and it came with a mini thing of tissues and I was like, oh, okay, so that's how this is gonna go. But sometimes I've learned that there's like a trope for that. They call it like bruise poking, where you're actively seeking out books that will emotionally wreck you. Do you like as a reader also do that deep moments where you're like, ooh, I just am kind of like in the mood to feel torn apart and then put back together?
No, but I do sometimes like stories that are about trainers where I can kind of holler at them on the page and be like, oh my God, girl, what are you doing? Put that down. Those are my favorite types of stories. And there was a story that I read when I was in the Sims fandom, believe it or not. That's where I started publishing books and stories when I was still deep in the Sims fandom. And this person had a serial and she had a character who was an absolute train wreck. And she's in a relationship with a man. She has a toddler. She seems to be okay with life. But then like one day she just blows it all up, goes and has an affair with a younger man and leaves her husband. And you would think that that would be the thing that would make her happy that she broke out of that. She was miserable because the problem was her.
Right.
It was inside of her. It wasn't about anything that had to do with who she was with or what it was that she was doing with her life. It was her. And it caused her to make bad decisions and to do things that you just kind of want to shake her. But I also couldn't stop reading. So I don't know, like there was something about that character that just kind of stuck with me. So if I'm looking to read a particular type of story, I'm looking for that character that's going to make me feel that way when I read it.
That makes sense. Yeah. I think I have a love-hate relationship with like the train wreck type characters, especially if they're like lovable, I guess. Like you when you want better for the character than the character is doing for themselves, and you're like, I just want you to get it, I just want you to get it. But then when you get to the end of the book and you realize that like they actually had to go through all of those things to be the character that you love in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Oof. My eyeballs just be sweating through them books. Okay, so We've talked about the spice. We've talked about the emotional turmoil. We've talked about the writing process. Now I want to know a little bit more about you as the author, the person behind the pen, behind the characters, behind the stories. What was it that was like, I'm going to publish this? I'm going to hit the yes on the KDP button, and this is going to go out to the people.
An event that happened. Now it's like almost 15 years ago, like, well, maybe, yeah, close to 15 years ago, I had a friend that was killed. And there was a lot of grief around hearing all of the things that she wanted to do with her life that she never got to do because she was killed. And for me, mine was always, I want to write a book. And it that like out of all the things that I had planned for my life, that took the longest, but it was the most satisfying one. So, like me writing a book, like that's me living my dream. And in fact, like the very first book I ever wrote, like when I held it in my hands, and that was it.
I can only imagine. I mean, I don't know that I've ever dreamed of writing a book per se, but I think in this past year in this like Bookstagram world, I've done more things that I only thought were okay as dreams, and that's been that's been very surreal. So I can only imagine having created something and then that moment that you like hold it in your hands and it went from I would love to do this as a very just like aspirational type statement to, oh, look, I did this. And it's like my name on the page. So indie publishing, what are your favorite parts? What are your least favorite parts?
Well, my favorite part is always getting the book like down, out of my head, onto the page. Like nothing tops that for me, ever. I think the part of indie publishing that I hate the most is like the marketing. Like you have this great story that's in your head and it's out of your head, it's on the paper or it's on the computer screen. Now you have to figure out how the hell to tell people about it. And you have to be really creative about doing that. And then you have to do it over and over and over again. And based on the type of feedback that you get, it can also be very frustrating. And there are a lot of authors that love writing, but they're burnt out by the publishing part. And at the same time, like trad has its problems, obviously. But with self-publishing, like you can kind of take on a lot of the risk, but there's also way more work, and it may burn you out even faster if you let it. So,
I can see that being the case because I always say like book collecting and book reading are two different hobbies. So I can also see that like being an author, like writing the book is not the same as editing the book, which is not the same as marketing the book. And if your love and joy is the writing process and not the marketing process, I can see how that can be taxing because you want to get the thing that you spent all the time and poured into out to the people. But also like that was not the part probably that you signed up for, that you were like, okay, now I have to figure out how to do this thing too.
You have to be author. You have to be, in some cases, you have to be your own art department. You have to be marketing. You have to be PR. You have to be your own influencer. That's kind of, I'm not crazy about that part because you have to keep coming up with different ways to talk about your story, your process, and other things. So I don't like being my own influencer, which is what I call it, a lot, but one of those parts of the process that is necessary, because if you can't find ways to talk about your work and tell other people about your work, you might as well just put it up on KDP and forget about it.
Yeah, it's the social media world can be an interesting place to be. And I don't imagine that like paying attention to those type of metrics is always the most healthy environment for being a creative. Even as someone who is creating content, I find that paying attention to the metrics is not the healthiest place for me to be as a content creator and can cause pressure that then gets internalized in ways that can almost block the process of creating.
There are a lot of authors, and there are way more authors that you think, because us authors, we all talk to each other behind the scenes. We have like a nice support group, and we're able to say things that we're not able to say in public. There are a lot more authors out there that are more burned out than y'all know.
I believe you. Sometimes I look at authors that are turning out books left and right, and I'm like, man, how are they doing it? Or I look at authors that maybe don't have the biggest presence on social media, but they're some of the best books that I've ever read, and I'm like, man, if I could just give you a following of 100,000 people just to get more people into the book, that would be great. But then I also realized that like, hey, this is where you can come in as a content creator and help push this person's work. And so I do very much enjoy that. But I also, like you said, like the support in the community, I think keeps a lot of people here. And if that wasn't there, they probably wouldn't be in this creative space anymore. So who is your author circle? I always love to know.
I'm friends with a number of authors or acquaintances with a number of authors like Tuesday Harper, Erica Alexander, Monique Good is a really cool person. I also chat a lot in the back end with Frankie Fire, who is another sapphic author, Adrian Smith, Bryce Oakley, and Ruby Landers,
Okay.
Jane Blue. Like those are kind of like the giants of the sapphic world. And then there's me trying to be as supportive as I possibly can. Shout out to Terry Reynolds and Naomi Rivers. Those are the names that were escaping my head. So having like people that are in the trenches with you that you know you can talk to and you know you don't have to worry about it getting out or anything like that's invaluable.
So what are your favorite ways for readers to support you?
Well, I have a Patreon. If they want like a low cost way to support me, they can be part of my street team. They can follow me on Substack, although Substack, that's mostly me blowing off steam about writing. So if you're fascinated by that, you can check me out there. But like if you actually want to read the stuff that I've written, then you can check me out on Patreon.
I will definitely include all of those things in the description for the episode for sure. I know I personally am really excited to take a deeper dive into your catalog. For readers who might be discovering your work for the first time, where do you recommend they start?
I say start small. And I have a number of short books that are teasers for anyone who is interested in the type of stories that I write. And they're not going to take up too much time. So I would say start with Court, or you can start with Crushed. That's a very steamy book. Or you can start with Retwist. And a lot of these books are all in the same world. So if you fall in love with one character, you may see them pop up again saying hi in another book.
Love that. And I love a good connected like universe situation. I will also make sure all those books are linked down below. And before we wrap up, what's next for you? I know you've talked about a couple of books that might be coming out this year. Are we going to see you any place? Are you going to any book events? What's next?
Yeah, next year I have 4 book events that I'm signed up for. There's Indies and Bookworms that is in Baltimore. There is Boozy Book Tour. I'm going to be at the Denver stop, which is grown folks only. If you go on the site, you'll see why it's grown folks only. I'm going to be at Pride LitCon, and I'm going to be at Golden Crown Literary Society. Ooh. And those are just the 2026 events. And because I have this busy schedule, especially like in the summer months, I'm kind of slowing down on writing books or trying not to have so many books that I'm trying to write at the same time. So what I have so far in 2026 is going to be Friends to Lovers. Both characters are studs. They're in the music industry. And it's going to be book 2, which is called Hot Mic. The series is called Hot Mic. And that's the series that has The Art of Going Rogue. And then there's going to be a serial, which is L Word meets Empire.
Love.
And it is about, and people freak out when I say this, but it is about rival female MC.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the 2 that I'm coming out with. And then like, I think for Thanksgiving, there's going to be another Friends to Lovers book, but I'm not even thinking about Thanksgiving right now.
Here we are.
Yeah, January. But yes, those are the 2 books that I'm very excited about. I've seen the covers for both. Yay. I'm waiting to do a cover reveal. I cannot wait to get these books out into the world because then I know everybody's just going to freak out.
That I love a good book cover. Actually, I loved all of your covers as I was scrolling through on Kindle. I was like, ooh, these are pretty. They're vibrant and colorful and like artsy. Yay. I'm so excited. Well, thank you so much for joining me and being here.
Thank you for having me. This was a really fun interview.
I'm glad.